Johnny here. Right now I'm at the amazing UNESCO World Heritage Site of Tikal, and in this short film I'm going to talk about tourism in Guatemala. Lying south of Mexico and north of El Salvador and Honduras, with coasts on both the Pacific Ocean and Caribbean Sea, Guatemala sits at the heart of Central America, and to many is its most fascinating and colourful destination. A country of extreme diversity, with breathtaking landscapes of volcanoes and lakes, bustling markets, vibrant colonial towns, and world-class archaeological sites, above all, it's a country of colour. Colour in the chicken buses that ply the urban streets and mountain roads, colour in the life of the Mayan legacy that still looms large in the people who live here, and colour even in the death of those that have passed away. For the curious traveller looking for ancient history and modern culture, set to a spectacular backdrop, Guatemala has it all. If you're entering the city by air, the first place you're likely to visit is the beautiful UNESCO World Heritage colonial town of Antigua. Sitting magnificently in the lee of three towering volcanoes, Antigua is one of the most charming colonial towns in the whole of Latin America. As former capital to the country, the town has a huge array of magnificent architecture, from elegant stucco-fronted churches to old town halls, a grand plaza and a famous arched clock tower. While some of the buildings are in excellent condition, others, having endured a number of earthquakes, remain in a state of tumbled-down charm. But now, with a plethora of shops, restaurants and sights to be seen, Antigua is a great place to spend a couple of days. And, if you have time, it's also a good place to learn about the region's coffee industry, with local farmers happy to show you how their industry works. And another jewel in Guatemala's sparkling tourist crown is the stunning Lake Atitlán. Formed by a massive volcanic eruption some 85,000 years ago, Lago to Atitlán has a magical, otherworldly feel to it. With the sunrise over the golden waters, when local fishermen cast out to take in the day's catch, the communities that live on its shores ease steadily to life. While this is a great place to relax, there are also some wonderful walks to be taken, the most impressive being taking a trail up the so-called Indian Nose. It's a tricky climb in places, but the views from the top are simply superb. As long as you get your timings right, the next thing you're going to want to do is visit the colourful and historic market in the mountain town of Chichicastenango. With some of the first conquistadors to visit the region referring to the market in Chichi in their journals, it's understood people have been trading here for well over 500 years. Today it's an important site for locals and tourists alike, offering all manner of goods, from consumable fruit, flowers and vegetables to clothes and tourist souvenirs. There's also an impressive church at one end of town and a very pretty and colourful cemetery at the other, both of which are well worth a visit. From Chichi you should head north through what's known as the Ixil Triangle, a traditional rural region of small towns set amongst magnificent landscapes, where you can go for some more hikes, visit orchid farms and waterfalls, swim in the famous limestone rivers and lakes of Lanquin, and stay at some characterful working haciendas. And from here, it's north into the Mayan world. With a history dating back to 500 BC, the Mayan civilization is one of the most fascinating in all the Americas. Some of the country's sites are hidden away, deep into the watery jungle world of the Pitex Batum Lagoon and the Rio La Pasión that flows through it. Here you can visit the hidden site of Aquateca. Dating back to the late Classic period of Mayan development, the UNESCO cultural site is among the best preserved in the country. And from here you'll want to then visit the even more impressive site of Ixil. Situated on the banks of the Sacnab Lakes, the views from the top of the main pyramid are simply amazing. But anyone with an interest in Mayan history or culture ultimately has one goal in mind, and that's to visit the extraordinary archaeological site here at Tikal. Considered by many to be the finest collection of Mayan ruins on the continent, this stunning UNESCO World Heritage Site lies encased in a remote jungle setting. Abandoned over 1,000 years ago, the city was once one of the largest and most powerful in the Mayan world, its temples and pyramids spreading across an area of over 16 square kilometers. Deserted since the end of the 9th century AD, the city lay lost for almost 1,000 years before it was rediscovered in the middle of the 19th century. Although still only partially excavated, the magnificent temple complexes now stand as testimony to the incredible ingenuity of Mayan engineering. But wandering the jungle trails that wind through the expansive plazas past towering Mayan pyramids, enhanced by the choral accompaniment of howler monkeys and toucans, still gives an overwhelming feeling of remoteness and of an ancient time. Tikal truly is a world-class site, easily on a par with Machu Picchu or Angkor Wat. From Tikal, you should spend an evening in the fun town of Flores, enjoying the sights, walking the promenade, or having a drink in one of the many harbourside bars, before heading on to the Caribbean coast at Livingston. Here you can enjoy time on the beach, either in the thick of it with the locals, or by finding a more remote and secluded spot for a bit of quiet relaxation. And from here it's back to Guatemala City, which with its grand colonial urban architecture and colourful markets will make for an excellent way to finish your tour. I first visited Guatemala almost exactly 30 years ago, just as the country was coming out of 3 decades of civil war. But despite the chaos of that time, I'd still found it a wonderful place to travel. Today, with a stable government, a burgeoning economy, and an ever-improving tourist infrastructure, plus of course its fascinating history, its colourful culture, its epic landscapes, its world-class archaeological sites, and perhaps most importantly, its incredibly friendly and welcoming people, Guatemala is today emerging as one of the great travel destinations in the whole of Latin America.